What is up? Welcome to Mish Monster Mondays, self proclaimed thing here that we are doing to hold me accountable to be here with you every single Monday. It is going to be an exciting time. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers play a football game in just a few short minutes, which is what I know brought a lot of you folks here. I am excited to hop into really all of what we saw in week 2. So appreciate you stopping by. I want to start with conversations about what the hell we just saw in Detroit with Caleb Williams. I think that is the top storyline for the entire week 2. Yeah, there's been obviously, we're going to talk Giants, we're going to talk Cowboys. There is so much for us to chat through, and I'm excited. Let me go ahead and hop into some of these notes here. So I hate to call it. Is it too early to call it? But I just do not think that the Caleb Williams experience is going to be one that is ultimately successful in Chicago. I was a big fan of his predecessor, Justin Fields. Thought that he had a lot of talent, and we will be talking about Justin here in a little bit with his the new look New York Jets. But I think ultimately, and let me check my sound here because I think we all know the horror story that happened when I recorded an entire live stream without sound. So I'm too scarred to ever just let that go. Let's take a. All right, so we got sound. Beautiful. All right, so Caleb Williams started out hot in Detroit, just similar to how he started out hot with Minnesota. So I think, he started 9 for 11, 79 yards, 1 TD in the first quarter. But as Detroit's, old faithful pass rush with Aiden Hutchinson being back, he finished 19 for 30 for 207 yards, I believe, 2 TDs, just around 90 QB rating. And the biggest storyline really is obviously things with Caleb, but let's flip over to what's going on with Ben Johnson and the fact that his old boss was running the score up on him. So, this isn't college, right? Where you see 52-point games. Like, this is not something that is going to be realistic or something you expect every week. And for Dan Campbell to give Ben Johnson a really big thanks for his contributions to the Detroit organization by running the score up and passing on fourth down in some of these late game situations, it was really surprising to see the way that Campbell handled that. I'm sure that will leave a bad taste in Ben Johnson's mouth. And if he was somebody different, and if he had a different team and a different GM and a different QB, I'd say Ben Johnson's going to be back. He's going to make Dan Campbell pay. But with the way things look there in Chicago, you have to question if Ryan Poles is even going to have a job halfway through the season. Of course, they'll probably run things back with Ben just to give him, that new offensive guru another chance, another opportunity. But yeah, that is not a successful thing. So they outgained Chicago by over 500 yards. So it's 500 to around 300, average 8.5 yards per play, and posted 6 TDs on 7 red zone trips. That is a recipe for disaster in Chicago. And to pretty much be humiliated 2 days in a row. Luckily, this one was not in prime time. That is not promising for the Bears. I don't think anybody expected them to go in and I don't think anyone expected them to go in and, win the game, but to lose by 30 some odd points. That's bad business, baby. And the Chicago Bears continue to surprise me with their level of ineptitude. So let's flip over to the other side of the field. It looks like Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions, Dan Campbell, they are so back, baby. Granted, we don't know how good the Chicago Bears team is on the defensive side when it comes to, what it's going to look like throughout the course of the season. We know they have some decent talent, but they are dealing with some injuries. I think, you know, I mean, Jared Goff, he was absolutely balling, right? Like, it was like there was no defense on the field. It didn't matter. So over 330 yards, 5 TD passes, earning praise from really nearly everybody that matters. And I don't think we need to worry about the Detroit Lions. I predicted that the Green Bay Packers would be the team last year to go and win the division. Obviously, I was a year too early on that. I do think it will be difficult if you can't win those head-to-heads, but I think for Detroit, it's difficult. You're going on the road, first week, hostile territory. Luckily, you didn't have to deal with the weather, but you did have to deal with Jordan Love, who seems to be playing out of his absolute mind. Matt LaFleur, they're clicking. There is a lot to like with the Detroit Lions and the Green Bay Packers, but not much with the Vikings. And even I can debate if JJ McCarthy is a bust or not. I think people are already calling him a bust. I never believed in him, but for now, we should just chill on crowning or discrediting or throwing careers away. Let's just give it a minute. But I think it's safe to say that the Detroit Lions are back. So, I've got a bunch of notes here. I am fanatically taking notes during the games, like a crazy person, and I will not apologize for that. I think if you are an Amon-Ra St. Brown fan, you're very happy in fantasy. There is a lot of kind of surprising dudes like Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders with this Giants and Cowboys game. That was obviously an all-timer. They let Russ cook, and it ended up being a beautiful sight to see for the most part, except for that last errant throw where you start to wonder like what was going through his mind. I assume it was a miscommunication. Russ is, as bad as he might be at times, he is not a poor decision maker for the most part. So, the Giants that go in, they erase this 17-point deficit. In the fourth quarter, they're scoring 40-something points in just the fourth quarter. This is really fun football. Don't let anybody else tell you otherwise. I don't think that there was a time coming into this week where I was excited to watch the New York Giants and the Dallas Cowboys play football really ever. So for this year, obviously, I said in one of my other videos, Dallas came out and they looked way better than I thought. Their running game looked leaps and bounds better than I thought it would. You've got major credit to CeeDee Lamb, who had upwards of 10 catches, and he actually didn't get the yips. So major props to him on that front, because he absolutely could have just gone into the tank and not returned. So I think ultimately he deserves a ton of credit. Dak Prescott looks like he's in a form I've never seen before. Brian Schottenheimer has also really impressed me. I think on the Giants side, when Jackson Dart was in there, throughout the game, I was like, I thought I missed something. I'm like, what happened? Did he get hurt? Did he throw something? But no, that was not the case, fortunately. So, I think they're going to pause on the whole Jackson Dart thing. But I think if you're the Giants, you're kind of past the point of wanting moral victories, right? You've had moral victories for the last 6 years so you're past the point of that. You want to win games. I still think they're about a year or two away. I was high on them last year. Shame on me. But yeah, for the Dallas Cowboys, listen, they are not going to win the NFC East. They are not going to make the playoffs. But credit to them for putting some decent things on tape. I think Trayvon Diggs and the other corners are an absolute liability. I think that, uh, Trayvon, he's so caught up on wanting the big play and wanting to pick off the ball that he's like laser focused on that, and somehow just continues to let multiple guys, sometimes some of them you've never heard of, just run by him. And so it's poor technique, it's poor, there's just something going on where he doesn't have his priorities straight. And for I don't mean to be so harsh, but it's clear that, the Cowboys don't have their priorities straight, right? Like, you don't think Micah Parsons could have helped a lot in that game? Yeah, that would have been really interesting. So yeah, I mean, I think like places for them to improve is like, 3 quarters through the game, I was like, where the hell is George Pickens, right? We're hearing all this about, oh, they finally got a number 2. And like, yeah, I like George Pickens' game. Like, I don't necessarily like the off the field stuff, right? Like, he does seem like the guy who's going to get you, a penalty or two for some of the decisions he's making, like taunting, other players and just being like really cocky for whatever reason. When there's guys like, I don't know, double, triple his talent level who don't act like that. So yeah, it's a bit of a turn off in that sense, but I think, it was good to get him going, because you can't expect CD to perform to that level, throughout the entirety of a game that goes to overtime, which the New York Giants really should have won that game. So yeah, quite a bit to say there. Speaking of the Giants, I'm not going to go a ton into the Daniel Jones stuff, because I really don't know what to make of what I'm seeing, because homeboy is out there balling against what many people think is the best defense in the entire league for multiple years in a row now. And so Michael Pittman's getting the ball tossed to him. Like, the Daniel Jones stuff is really interesting because you start to really understand the value of coaching and somebody who believes in a dude. Shane Steichen is doing a bunch to really, I guess Shane just needed a competent quarterback that could distribute and not make turnovers, which is not what Daniel Jones is. So it's clear he's getting better protection there. I mean, he's playing with like reckless abandon. Like, he's playing with house money. Like, Daniel Jones, some people think his career as a starter is more than over. So listen, if he doesn't end up being with them long term, which we know the Colts are, prone to move on from people like just year to year on the quarterback side. Listen, there's going to be a lot of suitors out there, and I would be cautious of bringing Daniel Jones in if you don't have like one of the top play callers and one of the best like, quarterback gurus, for lack of a better term. So listen, this next game is, and we got to go quick because, like I said, my Tampa Bay Buccaneers are playing. Anybody who is listening in my family, please send the link out to everybody. I appreciate it. Would love for you all to join. We've got some elderly folks in the family who are not good with computers and may need help getting my information. So I appreciate you for sitting here and listening with me while we get that all figured out. So it's just one of the things about talking so much. Just talking so much is like, you need a lot of fluids. I don't know. All right. So let's talk about the Miami Dolphins and the New England Patriots. Let's start off by saying that there have been a lot of teams in week 2 who really didn't like their narrative, who really didn't like the way things were playing out in the media, right? Miami's calling a players only meeting in week 1, which is like absolutely unheard of, right? So, I mean, props to them for making sure that shit doesn't spiral. I think Miami came out and looked way more physical than I have ever seen them play. I have seen what feels like the softest team in the league, the most glamorous team in the league, who care much more about South Beach than they do their football team or the quality of things that they're putting on tape. But in this case, Miami took it personal. Like Miami did not, they said this shit is not over for us. So um props to them for coming out. I will say that the New England Patriots, like nobody looks like they're having fun. Like Drake May, I mean, the kid looks kind of miserable. Like it's almost like he understands like the team is just not that much better from last year. Like there's still a bunch of dudes on the defense who are really still settling in. Same case with same case, like you finally saw Milton Williams like basically make the play to seal the game up at the end there. But like throughout so far, you're not seeing a big impact from these other guys that you brought in that you like had hoped you would. So I think you want to keep Drake May locked in. I mean, it doesn't body language, facial expressions, like he just looks like, oh shit, like we got to get back on the field. Like that's not the Drake May that I've seen coming into it, and you just hope like this kid's confidence isn't already kind of, I don't want to say broken, but like is he just checked out on the fact that they are supposed to be the surprise team and like can't beat the Miami Dolphins, who some people think is now the worst team in the league. So yeah, I think there's some positive, encouraging signs for the Patriots on their defense. Just give them some time to hit their stride. I think Mike McDaniel is still a dead man walking, right? Like for lack of a better term, like he's just that ain't gonna last. That is not gonna be. He's not gonna be the guy. But I want to give props to them for not just rolling over and booking their trip to Cancun already. What do I want to say about the New Orleans Saints, San Francisco 49ers? Some people on NFL and Blue Sky are making the joke that Kyle Shanahan finally got his dream of watching Mac Jones just absolutely run his offense to a T. So if you know, that's hilarious. I just want to say that I feel bad for Spencer Rattler, and the Saints aren't going to be good probably for the next half decade. And as a NFC South, what do I want to say? NFC South champion for multiple years in a row, I don't think they're going to be in it. Neither are the Carolina Panthers. Anyway, so that's all I really want to say about that game. 49ers are kind of are what they are. Like, feel bad for Spencer. Now, I do want to talk a little bit about a combination of Buffalo Bills and Jets, Seattle Seahawks, Pittsburgh Steelers. I think a lot of people felt like that was the best game. The Jets and the Steelers last week was the best game. It was really entertaining for sure, and it felt like all of my premonitions about Justin Fields came true. Right? I think they should have won that game. Jalen Ramsey is an absolute dog. Looks like he's still in like the first 5 years of his career. Like he is still a physical corner. He's still somebody you can't throw to confidently. And so I just wanted to give Jalen like a major shout out. Like it's so cool to see corners hit. Like it's so cool to see corners like just with his level of IQ and how cerebral he is on the field. And then for him to still be jumping around from team to team, dude is checked in, locked in, unlike a way I've never seen before. Love it. You just don't see it with corners at his age. I mean, you're watching Darius Slay on the same field. Does that look like the same guy? Right? No shade. But yeah, so the whole Justin Fields thing, like my whole thoughts are like, Justin should have been a Jet from day one, and thank God that he wasn't. I thought he was the pick over Zach Wilson due to not only just his measurables, but like you cannot get a kid who has maturity, who has physical ability, and perhaps the best straight line runner that I have ever seen at the quarterback position. Yeah, man, like I just don't think you can pass up on that guy. Thank God they did. And now he's with the Jets with Aaron Glenn, who apparently picked him because he he couldn't stand game planning against him in Chicago, which is a pretty big like compliment to get from a defensive coordinator. So I think with the overlap, right, you've got a bunch of a bunch of Jets former quarterbacks in this game. Aaron Rodgers, absolutely cooked. I've been saying it. I hate to say it. I hope I don't sound ridiculous, but this guy is absolutely cooked. Been cooked since he left the Packers, was slightly cooked, a few of those couple years before he left the Packers, and then he heard all the talk, and that, then he does the MVP thing, and then you got people like me who can't stand him, just having to deal with this situation. But like the dude, it's like he's got boulders for feet. I mean, he thinks that it's like 2011, right? And like, welcome to 2025, Aaron. Like, this is not, like, please put me out of my misery. I don't want to watch Aaron Rodgers play football anymore. Like, it's really killing my memories. Like, it's everything nostalgic about his career is just, it doesn't work for me now. Like, I don't want to see it. You've got a guy with the world's least self-awareness, the world's least, he's the least selfless person in the world. And now he has to discern, oh, I'm not that same guy. But he's not doing that. So it's driving me nuts watching him. Totally great to see Sam Darnold. I was surprised by Darnold's play. Yeah. I think Seattle's a real team to be reckoned with. They've got a great operation going there with Mike McDonald. Yeah, that's legit. But I think the biggest story here is like the Steelers. Their whole operation like is contingent on A-Rod, and I think it is time to really just take them out of the conversation. Like I don't care what they do in the regular season. Like Aaron Rodgers is only getting older and he's only getting slower, and he seems to get less self-awareness as the days go by. I think it's very concerning for the New York Jets to see how poorly they played the following week against the Buffalo Bills, who had an extremely emotional win, who Justin Fields leaves with a concussion, but my notes say that he was, let's see here, he was 3 for 11 before he got that concussion for 27 yards. I mean, come on, man. Like, it was surprising to see the way the lack of carryover from week to week. And if you're a Jets fan, you're probably saying something like, here we go again. So I think other QBs I want to call out, obviously, Drake May. I don't think he looks as great as the guy that he looked like last year. That's okay. It's still early. Cam Ward, love it. Absolutely love it. Love it. He is so much fun to watch. Like, he makes me feel like this is why I love football. Like, I love to see a guy come to a team nobody cares about and just absolutely make plays, throw the entire field across his body. Like, if you're not watching Cam Ward, you are really missing out. Like I said, my Buccaneers are coming on. There's a couple of things I wanted to talk about. Let's see if there's anything else that I have not mentioned thus far. Yeah. So I think big takeaway, like, there's really no juggernaut, right? There's no team that's pulling away with it, which is exciting for people who like competition and the parity of this wonderful sport. Lots of shootouts. And then you have like the Lions who go and they make a huge statement. And I also want to just point out the fact that I think the amount of penalties that the New York Giants had is actually fireable for Dable. I think people have said that, and I want to echo it. Roma Dunze looks like he's okay catching targets from in that messed up organization. I don't know what to make of the Justin Fields developments. I don't know if if this is going to be a long-term problem. We've got really high highs, we've got really low lows. We still don't know what we're going to get. And let's wrap up with some Bucs talk. So I want to talk about what I'm looking for in this game. Do the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have a pass rush? Because against this O-line of the Houston Texans, if you cannot get home, if you have to send the blitz multiple times in order to make CJ Stroud uncomfortable, then I am uncomfortable with the outlook for this team. I felt like Zion covered really well in game one. The offense obviously started off super slow. Emeka Buka is a freaking stud. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people tonight on Monday night. I hate... Oh, hold on one second. I hate the idea that everyone's saying that he's going to get shut down because he's a rookie, so on and so forth. That dude is a freaking baller. He's about to have the crown passed to him by Mike Evans. I think for the Buccaneers, we've got to understand, can they cover? Because if we can't get home, we need to be able to cover. I don't think we've had great safety play opposite of Antoine Winfield. We know he's going to make a lot of plays, a ton of statements with his play. And on the second front, we got to see what this running game looks like, because my cousin texted me and he said, I hope our running game did not go up north to Jacksonville with Liam Cohen. So that is going to be the biggest development here that we have got to keep our eyes on. Bucky is going to be consistent, but we need to find a much better balance. And Baker, we got to see him settle into the game a lot quicker than he did. I'd love to see, get Rachaad White out there for some catches. We know we don't have a receiving problem. We know we have historically in the last half decade had a running the ball problem. And right now we don't have really any studs beyond Vita, to really force that pressure. And Vita's going to make a play or two every game where you're like, that's not normal. But yeah, let's have a lot of fun. I'm disappointed that it's a double header where some people's attention is not going to be on my Buccaneers, where it should be. I love watching CJ Stroud play, but today I do not. So let's see what this Houston Texans defense looks like. They're always really fun. Let's hope they have a terrible game tonight. That's all we can hope for. And appreciate you stopping by for the first Mish Monster Monday. More content coming out this week. Looking forward to it. Drop any comments you have in the chat when you're rewatching it.